The sun burned high over the Santa Monica Pier, spilling golden light over the waves that crashed in lazy rhythm beneath the wooden planks. The scent of popcorn, salt, and cotton candy danced together in the air, a sweet and sticky perfume that belonged only to summer. Music floated from somewhere near the Ferris wheel, an old guitar playing a tune that sounded half like a song, half like a memory. Children laughed, chasing bubbles that shimmered in the sun. Vendors called out, offering ice cream, trinkets, and smiles. It was a place where happiness felt easy, automatic, like the ocean itself was breathing joy into every passerby. But amid the chaos of life and laughter sat one quiet figure who didn't quite belong. Her name was Marissa Hart, and though she smiled faintly, her eyes carried stories that joy could not erase. 19 years old, she had once been the kind of girl who ran barefoot through fields and danced without music. But one evening, one blinding flash of metal and sound changed everything. The car accident had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Months in hospitals followed. White walls, pitying faces, the slow learning of how to exist in a world that now towered above her. Yet somehow Marissa refused to let her spirit rot in bitterness. She learned to navigate her wheelchair with pride, decorating it with ocean blue stickers that shimmered when the sun touched them. Still, every trip outside her home carried a familiar fear, not of falling or pain, but of the stairs. The ones that lingered too long, the ones that turned pity into judgment. But that morning, Marissa made herself a promise. She was tired of hiding behind those walls of fear. The pier had always been her favorite place before the accident, full of light, laughter, and the kind of freedom that lived in sea air. Today, she told herself, she would reclaim it. She would move along the boardwalk, sip a lemonade, and let the world see her without flinching. Just another girl enjoying the sun, just another heart learning to heal. The wheels of her chair rolled gently over the planks, creaking under her as she moved past kiosks and colorful stalls. A little boy smiled at her. She smiled back. An elderly couple offered a nod of respect, and for a fleeting moment she felt that maybe the world wasn't so cruel after all. She parked near the carousel, where the painted horses rose and fell like waves in slow motion. The music was nostalgic, cheerful but tinged with something wistful. Marissa closed her eyes and let the ocean breeze brush through her hair. She felt alive, whole. For the first time in months, she didn't think about what she couldn't do, only what she still could. And then, like a crack splitting the peace, came the laughter, sharp, mocking, out of place. 3 young men swaggered down the pier, loud enough to draw stares. The first wore a floral shirt unbuttoned to his chest, gold chain glinting under the sun. Tattoos coiled down his arms like vines. His 2 friends wore denim vests and smirks that promised trouble. They shoved each other, laughing too loud at jokes that weren't funny, enjoying the sound of their own noise. And then they saw her, a girl in a wheelchair alone. Their laughter quieted for a heartbeat, only to twist into something crueler. "Hey!" said the one in the floral shirt, stepping closer. His tone carried that mocking sweetness that meant danger. "You're blocking the view. Move!" The words slammed into Marissa like a physical blow. She froze, eyes wide. The laughter of the crowd behind her faded to a low murmur. She had heard whispers before, pitying comments she could brush off. But this was different. This was public, deliberate. Cruelty dressed as entertainment. Before she could respond, the man sneered and swung his boot against the wheel of her chair. The impact jolted her, sending her swaying sideways. Her hand shot out, gripping the armrest. For a terrifying moment, she thought she would fall. Gasps rippled around her. But no one moved. People watched. They stared, wide-eyed, frozen, as if decency had been replaced by curiosity. Her throat tightened. She wanted to shout, to demand that someone say something, but her voice betrayed her, trembling into silence. The man laughed, the sound coarse and ugly. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Bet she can't even get up without help," his friend added, snickering. "Maybe she just likes sitting," said the third, laughter spilling out like venom. Marissa's face burned. Her eyes stung, but she wouldn't let them see her cry. The world felt smaller with every cruel word. The carousel behind her kept turning, its cheerful music clashing painfully with the scene before it. She reached for her wheels, trying to turn away, but her arms felt weak. Fear had turned her limbs to stone. And then, just when the world seemed content to stay silent, it happened. A low, thunderous sound rolled in from the street beyond the pier. At first faint, then louder, deeper. The wooden boards trembled. People began turning toward the sound. The laughter died mid-breath. A dozen engines roared in unison, then 2 dozen, the unmistakable growl of motorcycles rolling closer. The sun caught on chrome, dazzling flashes of silver and steel. One by one they arrived. Dozens of bikers, men and women alike, dressed in black leather, faces marked by the sun, tattoos, and life's long road. Their engines rumbled like thunder rolling across the sea. They parked in a line, dismounted slowly, and began walking toward the commotion. The crowd parted instinctively, a wave of whispers passing through. There was no mistaking it. These were not ordinary tourists. Their vests bore insignias stitched in flame and steel. But what drew every eye wasn't their reputation. It was their unity. Each step carried quiet authority. The bullies stiffened. The one in the floral shirt tried to laugh it off. "Hey, we were just joking." But his words sounded small, pitiful. The leader stepped forward. A man built like a mountain with a silver beard and calm, stormy eyes. His boots thudded on the wood as he stopped inches from the bullies. He didn't need to shout. He simply folded his arms, gaze locked on the man who had kicked Marissa's chair. "Apologize," he said softly. His voice was deep, gravelly, dangerous in its restraint. The bully hesitated. His mouth opened, closed. Around him, the other bikers spread out, forming a protective circle around Marissa. The air changed, thicker, heavier, charged with silent anger. One of the bikers, a woman with a red bandana, crouched beside Marissa. "You okay, sweetheart?" she asked, her voice low and kind. Marissa nodded, though her heart was racing. I'm fine," she whispered, her voice cracking. The leader didn't take his eyes off the bully. "Say it," he repeated, his tone still calm. "I said we were... apologize." The word landed like a hammer. The bully's chest rose and fell. His confidence, once loud and flashing, crumbled under the weight of so many steady eyes. He muttered something that barely passed for sorry, then backed away, dragging his friends with him. The bikers didn't move until they were gone. Only then did the leader turn to Marissa. "You're safe now," he said gently. The hard edge in his voice melted into warmth. He knelt so their eyes met at the same level. For a moment, Marissa couldn't speak. The kindness in his eyes undid the wall she had built around her pain. Tears slipped down her cheeks. She nodded, whispering, "Thank you." Around them, the pier had fallen silent. Then slowly the applause began, scattered at first, then rising into a wave. Children clapped. Parents smiled, some wiping their eyes. Even those who had looked away earlier now found courage in the echo of that moment. Marissa's heart swelled. For once the world didn't look away. For once cruelty had been met with strength, not with fists, but with presence. The bikers smiled, some resting their hands on her chair before turning back to their bikes. The woman in the bandana gave her a wink. "Don't let anyone dim that fire, honey. You roll like a queen." Marissa laughed through her tears. It was the first real laugh she'd felt in months. As the engines roared to life again, the pier vibrated with power and pride. The crowd stepped aside, cheering as the bikers rode off into the sunlight, a convoy of chrome and compassion. That night, Marissa lay in bed, replaying every moment. The sound of engines, the look on the leader's face, the warmth in the crowd. For the first time since her accident, she didn't dream of what she had lost, but of what she had found: strength, community, hope. Within days, videos of the event spread online. The clip, "Bikers Stand Up for Girl in Wheelchair," went viral. Millions watched the moment when strangers became protectors. Comments poured in from around the world. This gave me chills. Humanity still exists. Kindness is louder than cruelty. Marissa's inbox filled with messages, some from people with disabilities, others from strangers who simply wanted to say thank you. The story became more than her own. It became a symbol, proof that compassion can roar louder than hate when people stand together. Before the video ended, one line appeared on screen. If you believe kindness protects, leave a comment below. Let's make courage contagious, and people did. Thousands wrote those two words. Kindness protects. Marissa read them all, smiling through tears. For the first time in a long time, she believed it too. Because sometimes courage doesn't come from standing tall, it comes from standing together.